If you're standing in the middle of the living room wondering whether it's worth splurging on a 5-channel home theater set, I get it. You've probably seen the glossy ads, heard the bighorn promise, and imagined a cinema-level experience, but you also fear ending up with a system that either looks too flashy for your decor or sounds great only when you're watching the newest blockbuster. You don't want to waste money on something that will sit idle because it's too much, or on a set that won't deliver the punch you're hoping for when the family gathers for game night. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. Let's walk through what the Klipsch 5.1 Ebony system actually brings to the table, and who should or shouldn't consider it. First off, the Ebony system isn't just a random bundle of speakers, it's built around Klipsch's signature horn-loaded design, which historically translates into a more efficient driver that can produce higher output without a massive amp. The front left, center, and right speakers, RP8000F2, each feature a larger horn-loaded tweeter and a new CERAMETALLIC woofer. In practice, what that means is you'll get a clearer, more open high-frequency presence. Think vocal lines that stay crisp even when the soundtrack is pushing the treble, and a bass response that feels more tight rather than boomy. For a regular movie night at home, those attributes give you a sense that dialogue remains intelligible even during an action scene with exploding trucks and roaring engines. Real-world owners have noted that the horn design can make the sound stage feel wider than the physical placement of the speakers would suggest. If you have a fairly standard rectangular room and you've managed to position the front 3 speakers along the front wall, you'll notice that the sound seems to fill the entire space, not just the area directly in front of each speaker. That can be a huge plus if you tend to sit a bit off-center or move around a bit while watching. The center channel, RP404C2, benefits from the same horn tweeter, so you won't see that classic center channel dip where voices can sound recessed, something that many non-horn systems struggle with. Now let's talk about the subwoofer, the RP1600SW. Klipsch's sub is known for offering deep, controlled bass without the rattle that sometimes leaks into the rest of the house. In a typical living room, the sub will deliver that satisfying thump for explosions or rumbling music without overwhelming the rest of the system. However, the trade-off is that the sub's enclosure is fairly compact compared to larger, dedicated home theater subs. If you have a very large room or you love watching movies that lean heavily on low-frequency impact, think massive sci-fi battles or high-power rock concerts, you might find yourself wanting a second sub or a larger unit down the line. One of the hidden trade-offs in this configuration is the need for biwiring or biamping if you want to extract the maximum benefit from the dual input terminals on each speaker. The system supports separate high and low frequency signals, which can improve clarity when paired with an amp that has the proper outputs. That's great for an audiophile who already owns a capable receiver, but it can be a stumbling block for a first-time home theater buyer who is planning to use a basic AV receiver. If you're not comfortable digging into wiring diagrams or you just want a plug-and-play experience, you'll likely end up using a single set of inputs, and you won't be taking full advantage of the horn's potential separation. It's not a deal-breaker, but it's something to be aware of before you pull the plug on a cheap receiver. Who should buy this set? If you already have a decent AV receiver, preferably one that offers separate high and low frequency outputs, or you're willing to upgrade to one, the Klipsch Ebony system will reward you with a dynamic, theater-like presence that can hold its own against larger, more expensive setups. The system shines for a moderate-sized living room, around 300,400 square feet, where the horn-loaded speakers can thrive without needing massive power. It's also a good fit for gamers who appreciate precise positional cues. The horn design can make directional audio cues feel more pinpointed, giving you a slight edge in fast-paced shooters. On the flip side, if you have a tiny apartment or you're looking for a minimalist setup that blends into the decor, the Ebony's glossy black finish and sizable front speakers might dominate the visual space. The system also isn't the best match for someone who plans to use a low-budget receiver with minimal power. In that scenario, you may not get the full dynamic range the speakers are capable of, and the result can feel underwhelming. Likewise, if you're a bass-heavy listener who likes feeling the floor shake during every low-frequency hit, you might outgrow the RP1600SW sooner than you'd like. Practically speaking, the installation experience is fairly straightforward if you follow the included diagrams. The front speakers require a bit of wall clearance for the horn to